Hey guys, welcome to Science Meets Literature. This is Portsmouth Public Library's program where we show you awesome science experiments and explain the science behind it. And today what we're going to be doing is making crystals. So you might be asking, how do you make crystals? What are crystals? So let's explain it.
All right, so what are crystals? Well, crystals are a material where the atoms are arranged in a specific repeating pattern. And that sounds kind of complicated. Really, all it means is all of the individual atoms kind of form up, sort of like Legos, Lego blocks, in these sort of rigid shapes. So what we're showing here is table salt. So if we look here, we have these very small little crystals. That's what table salt is, just these small crystals. On a microscopic level, this is what they look like. Well, you can also see here, a little more zoomed in, you see the individual shapes. And if we really zoom in, we can see the shapes on a super microscopic level. And you can see how each of these bigger blocks, each of these bigger crystals is made of smaller and smaller crystals. So the salt is already a crystal, but if we want to see what it looks like without a microscope, we just need to make a bigger crystal. It'll maintain its shape. And to do that, we need to combine smaller crystals into a larger crystal. Let me show you how to do that. All right, in order to build larger crystals, we first need to break down crystals into their basic components. In this case, we're going to break down salt into its basic atomic components. And then we're going to let that salt recombine, and all of the pieces of it will make larger crystals. It sounds like a really complicated process, but really all we're doing is taking salt, dissolving it with water, and waiting a little while. So we're going to be using a special type of salt called Epsom salt. This is a salt that's pretty easy to find in a lot of stores. You can go to like Kroger or Walmart and find Epsom salt. One thing to watch out for is a lot of Epsom salt is scented. You don't really want to use scented for this. We're going to be combining a 1-to-1 ratio of salt to water. That means 1 cup of salt to 1 cup of water. Once the water is in with the salt, it will begin to dissolve. The water needs to be hot. The hotter the water, the easier it will dissolve the salt. We want the salt to be as dissolved as possible because what we're looking to create is called a super concentrated or super saturated solution. And that just means that we have the maximum amount of salt particles floating through this water as possible. When that happens, all of those free-floating little atoms of salt are going to combine together to make larger crystals. It might take about a minute or two for you to really stir this well enough that you don't see individual salt crystals floating on the bottom of your jar. That's not what we're looking for. We want it to be as dissolved as possible in order for it to be able to combine together to make larger crystals. Now, you really want to make sure that when you look into your jar, you don't see salt crystals kind of floating around. It should look like sort of murky, cloudy water. At this point, you can go ahead and color your crystals because if you leave it as it is now, it'll just reform into larger versions of those sort of clear crystals. You can add a drop or two of whatever food coloring you'd like, and when your crystals grow, they'll sort of absorb some of that food coloring, and you'll have crystals colored by whatever color you'd like. So just stir in a drop or two is all that's necessary. Any more than that, and it's going to make it harder for your crystals to grow and harder for them to be seen. Now these crystals can grow by just simply combining, but they need a little something to hang onto as they're growing. They need an attachment point called a seed. A seed can be anything that you put into the container. It can be a rock, it can be sand, it can be a piece of a sponge, but you want to put something in that the crystals can begin to attach to and grow off of. That'll make more stable crystals. Otherwise, they might be too brittle or have too hard of a time combining together and staying together if they have nothing to hold on to. So, what you're going to do is you're going to put some pebbles or sand or whatever into your jar, and then you'll take this jar and put it into the fridge, and you want to let it sit for at least 3 to 4 hours, but overnight is better. The reason you really want to put this in the fridge is because colder things pack tighter together. So all these atoms that are floating around, as they chill, they'll clump together tighter, pack tighter, and more of them will pack together, which will result in larger formed crystals. Also, as the water begins to evaporate in the fridge, there will be less room for the crystals to even spread out, so they'll have to pack tighter still. This is the optimum condition in order to make large crystals. After several hours or the next day, it's time to check on your crystals. This is a pretty good crystal growth. It's going to be hard to see at first because there will still be liquid. Go ahead and very carefully pour some of that liquid down the drain. You want to get as much of the liquid out as you can because otherwise the crystals may begin to start dissolving again. You can see that there's some pretty good crystal growth here. You can see that it has a nice blue color, and you can see the pebble that's sort of buried underneath where the crystals have grown on top of it. Guys, thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Science Meets Literature. I hope that you are able to grow your own crystals and get some great results. And if you'd like, there are plenty of awesome science books that you can come in and check out. We have tons of cool science experiments that you can do. And if you need any help, just ask the reference desk, or you can even just give us a call at 740-354-5688. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.